Really annoying. Okay. Hello, Leslie. So you've been doing this online stuff with me for a while. How long have you been doing it now?
Really good question. I was trying to figure that out, but I think it's about 4 months. It's almost since the beginning of lockdown or shortly afterwards. So it feels incredibly, it feels not that long, but actually it is a long time.
Yeah. And what have you found from doing something? Is this the first? Well, firstly, is this the first time you've done something consistently every day?
Yes, 100%. Because what I'm normally in is I charge into something with great enthusiasm, and then I kind of get distracted or lose motivation. So yes, I would say definitely for this longer period of time, and for this, 6 days a week, definitely.
And well, that's an interesting point. So what's kept your enthusiasm up?
I think it's the ease of doing it. It's in your own house. So you don't have to think about going somewhere, getting there, all the things you have to do before. And also I've really enjoyed it. I was unsure about the online thing, but actually I've really taken to it, and it just appeals. It works for me. It's brilliant.
What were you worried about with the online thing to start with?
I guess part of fitness for me is the social side, or a bit of interaction face to face. And I did a yoga class quite early on in the whole session, and there were a lot of people on a Zoom call, and I kind of lost that interpersonal. But your classes are still a good number, but there's still time to chat and time to kind of debate and stuff. So I think it's still very personable.
Okay, good. And have you felt that you've had enough technical advice through the sessions, or do you feel that because some of those sessions you can roll along with, and do you feel like you've got lost, or you've had enough help, as it were?
No, loads of help, and there's always time if you want to join early to chat to you, or you're always open to being to discussing things outside of the classes. So that's really helpful as well, because you kind of feel if you have a niggle but you don't want to bring it up during the class, you can do it on the one-on-one. So no, I haven't had any issues at all.
Okay, that's nice to hear. And what for your sport? So you do a lot of running. So tell us what sort of running you do and what you've noticed, if there's been any improvements.
Yeah, so I've always run, and I typically would run a sort of a 10K every 3 times a week, maybe, or maybe one longer one at weekends, and sometimes on my own, sometimes with the other running pals. At lockdown, well, actually, because I was sort of working, but not much. I did a lot of running quite quickly at lockdown. And so arguably looking back on it, I probably upped my mileage a bit too quickly. But I found with the classes, I was finding that really easy. And, so I was suddenly doing 12K, 14K and thinking, okay, I feel pretty good. So, clearly there was, and I was thinking about my running as well, technique. Whereas when you run for a long time, you just go back to your normal. I was actually thinking of using my core, using my bum more, and, definitely found that I was running a lot faster.
And was that something that you felt, or was it something you compared to like the other girls you were running with? Did you notice?
Yeah, definitely a comparison. And I didn't really notice. I try not to look at my watch too much running and be too driven by data on running. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I noticed with the other girls, my average pace had suddenly increased, and they were all like, Jesus, you can slow down a bit now. So that was kind of nice. But equally, I was quite surprised because I wasn't tracking it myself, and I didn't feel like I was suddenly running faster, but I was. So, and that a pleasant surprise, really.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yes, that's always nice when you actually feel it's made improvement.
Yeah, because it was natural. It wasn't me saying, right, I'm going to run at, so much that I'm going to fix 8-minute miles, or I wasn't doing it with the sort of head full of, I've got to do this. I just let myself run, and actually found myself being able to run quicker, which is nice.
Yeah, that's excellent. And have you, do you find the classes monotonous? Like, is it repetitive, or is there, because we've tried to do a bit of variety. So
yeah,
is that a good thing, or would you prefer it more samey, or do you like the variety?
I like the variety, but there's probably 50% of the class that is samey and 50% that isn't. There's always something different in each class, and some focus on hips and some focus on core, and some so there's always a theme that changes. And also doing the ball on Wednesdays is really different for me because I've got really rubbish balance. So that is getting there, but slowly. So I just think, but also I quite like sometimes the sameness, because it's just a bit more flowy. Then you know exactly what to do with that exercise, and you get used to exactly the right form with it. So I think it's a really good balance.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And you also have come to some of the other classes that I've done. So I've done the morning stretch and wake up and stretch, but I've also done these little bit of the legs one day, or upper body. And how have you felt with those? Has it mattered not being in the gym with the equipment, or have you found, you know, you've been limited? I mean, you actually have got a TRX, so
yeah, I bought a bit, and it was a good excuse to kit out with some new kits. Which so I bought a TRX straps for the TRX classes, which I've really enjoyed, because that's something very new. I'd done a tiny bit of that at the gym, but actually it's bloody hard, but it's really good. And the first time I did it, if you remember with you, I couldn't do anything, and I was flailing around with these straps flying above my head. And now I can, you know, I feel like I'm in control, and I'm controlling it rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
And then just the arms. Typically my legs have always been really strong because of my running, and I've rarely done stuff with my arms. So doing those arm sessions, you know, they kind of creep up in you. They're kind of like, you know, they don't feel too hard at the beginning, and then, you know, you're into it. And so that's been really good as well, to focus on different parts of your body that you wouldn't normally bother with.
Yeah. And has it mattered that you've got a few hand weights, but has there been enough interest to not feel like you're missing, you know, the weights equipment, for example?
I'm not a massive weights fan person. Even when I go to the gym, I prefer doing the, you know, the prowler, or the, you know, I'm a more aerobic. That's my natural way, is to use more energy rather than weight. So actually having the light weights here that I have are like 2, 3 and 5, and that's absolute max. I don't really, majority of the time I haven't been using the weights, to be honest. I've found that just the exercises in themselves have been enough. So
yeah, because we've been doing body weight stuff, haven't
yeah,
we?
exactly. Yeah, so that's how,
Cool.
you know, having them. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. And I definitely think, you know, it's a funny side of lockdown. It's like getting up in the morning, the first thing you do every day is, at the very least, is have a really, really good stretch. And 100% it makes a massive difference. You know, I'm sitting at the computer most of the day. So if I didn't have that, then I probably wouldn't be doing anything. So, you know, it's amazing. It definitely has made a massive difference.
And also the fact that you're waking up and while you're chatting, we have a nice group. It feels to me like a nice group of people. A nice start to chat to everyone.
Exactly.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you, Emma. Long may it continue.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's the goal.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Leslie.
Thanks, Emma.
Right, stop recording.